Hey everybody, Ham Solo here, Kilo Zero Foxtrot Yankee Romeo. It is November and it is the weekend for the ARRL International Earth Moon Earth Contest. Let's see what happens. All right, hey guys, we're inside of the Plishner Radio Telescope new control room, and we're here with Alex, who has multiple call signs. I'm gonna go with probably K6 VHF.
Yeah.
And he is responsible for building the transverter that we have up in the cone of the dish itself. And so that changes the 705's frequency from 10 meters and then transferred it up to 1.2 gigahertz for the most part.
That's correct.
So where did you come up with that design for that?
I've been building the system for a long time, so it comes with experience. That's the best way for this particular site, but it doesn't mean you can run only 28 megahertz. You can pick any frequencies because transverters are actually programmable. Mm-hmm. So you can do 6 meter, 50 megahertz, you can do 2 meter band. For that particular site, because we have long cables, to overcome those cable losses, we choose 28 megahertz. But let's say if we're going to shorten the cable or put the more, better cable, less cable, we can switch to actually 2 meter band too. So,
okay. And I know that last month was a weekend that they were doing, I want to say it was CW. And
it was the first week of ARRL.
The first week of October, or second week?
Yeah, we're on the second week now.
And there was a problem with the feed line on the Heliax. I believe the center pin needed to be resoldered, right? So there was an issue.
There was a cold joint, yeah.
So I do that a lot. I don't solder that.
It happens. There's a lot of connections in Cox scale and all that, especially over time, and then also environmental conditions.
Sure.
That's all causing that. So it was easy to find it.
So I wonder if that's going to be a thing here from now on, because I know it gets really cold and then it gets really hot. So is that, expanding and contracting, is that probably going to be something we're going to have to look at?
Eventually, yes. The best way is to seal the connections, so you have a less, basically make it more isolated off the oxygen and all this environmental. But you can get rid of the multiple connections and keep as less connection as possible. Right now we have I think 4 connections, and each one would have the same concern. But normally we use the rubber tapes. Mm-hmm. So we rubber tape it there, and because it comes with a contact with the oxygen and the moisture and all that what comes in. There's over time, obviously. I don't think when the last time it's been serviced. Probably a long time ago. So it was a long time to fix it. So and now I'm glad that everything's working now, and we're getting ready to do some cool sun and noise measurements.
Oh, nice.
There's something we probably have not seen yet. So
it's
going to be the best way to verify our receive capabilities, as well as a beam width of our feed, and do initial characteristics before we're going to do some modifications. So,
that's awesome. Now, is this the original transverter that we used the very first time it came out, or is this like a revised version of it?
This is the original version of the Diane package.
Okay.
So when I designed this Diane, that was a transfer we choose to use is a Kuni from Germany. Uh-huh. It's the latest generation, so it's a generation 5. So it has the most performance and features than any other previously released. And we'll stick with this version at least for a couple of years.
Sure.
But the Diane itself will be modified. We'll add more capabilities. No longer cameras. We're going to be fully computer controlled. Run out of fiber optic. So every visit, it's just getting more and more stuff done for the best.
Sure. Yeah. And why did they choose the name Diane, or did you choose that?
It's kind of interesting fact that, thank you for bringing this up, because in my own experience, naming something is critical. With proven name, it's kind of benefits because sometimes people name projects in order to remember it.
Yeah.
So I think Diane is well known now. Even we had a presentation, maybe conference, the worldwide conference. So it's easy to recognize than just some abbreviation of
Sure.
the box that, you know, PBS 5.0. It's easy to remember Diane. Diane is particular in my case is the first love of my life was the Diane, and that's why I named that project. Diane born when I designed the first configuration of the system, because literally Diane is not just a name, it's what is inside the box,
Sure.
the way it configured, the way it designed for purpose. So I designed Diane a long time ago, and it was a prototype for this. But this version of Diane is the best Diane. So I have a third generation, the latest generation of Diane, which is going to be better than that. We have but we have a few more projects that also have other names. So we have 2 more projects coming up, but I'm not going to release that yet.
Oh yeah. Don't give it away just yet. Well, that's good. Let's check out what they're going to do as far as measuring the sun noise and see what happens with that. That's the first time I've seen us do anything like that. So stay tuned. All right, it is about 2:30 in the afternoon on the first day. We're working on final preparation for the dish and checking everything out. Here's Alex going up to the antenna feed point while it's in our maintenance position. He's going to be changing out some coax links between the Diane transverter and the preamp, I believe. And so he's got some LMR 600 and I believe he said LMR 195 for the receive side. He's going to be swapping those out to maybe get a better or lower signal loss, let's put it that way. Let me show you the program he was using for the space noise, and let's check that out. With the antenna in the stow position, we're not really listening at anything currently, but we have our controls for elevation and azimuth. It is on the tracking software that tracks the moon. Right now it's in the stow position, and we have an alternate way to monitor elevation and azimuth. The dish itself, Diane is plugged into this SDR, and this SDR is listening for the space noise. So we're not going through the 705 right now. We're listening on that SDR, and he's got multiple programs open here, and basically you have the dish information that's entered into these programs, and this is the known noise that should be associated with these different things we're looking at. So I believe there was Andromeda and the moon and the sun, and each one has a known noise factor. So Cassiopeia, Cygnus, Taurus, Sagittarius, Virgo. I don't know what 37273 is, but the moon, the sun, and this is the associated noise number. See if we can zoom in a little bit. That would be associated. So if we were to listen or look at the sun, we should be hearing a noise Y factor right there, 30.17. So pretty noisy if you were to look at the sun. And so the way he explained it to me is that once we enter our parameters for receive, and I don't want to click on too many buttons and mess it up. So we have our dish size, which is 18.2 meters. The dish efficiency is about 69%. And so that's saying that based on the factor of how the dish is basically concave, where the feed point is, we're looking at about a 31% loss of signal, and that's pretty okay for Earth, Moon, Earth. We're listening at 1296. We know all of these factors for the dish, and then the program analyzes those things and enters in this type of data here, and then that is transferred over to here, And then when they plot it by clicking on these calculate noise from sources, download latest sun floor data, then we get these knowns based on our dish conditions. And so again, whatever we point at of these, Cassiopeia or Sagittarius or Sagittarius, excuse me, and we should be hearing that noise here on this graph. And so this graph would be, if we were to point, you'd see, like if we were looking at the sun, there'd be a big spike here at 30 decibels, you know, right around here, midway 30. There'd be a spike there if we were looking at the sun, and that's where we should hear it. So it's kind of just a way to know that everything is in tune, that we're listening to everything good, and that we're able to then, you know, change it back over to the IC 705, and that we should be good to go as far as the efficiency of the dish. Everything is working correctly. All the feed lines are appropriate. We don't have any loss of signal or anything like that. So in this Earth Moon Earth contest that's happening this weekend, we are able to do single sideband, you're able to do CW, and you're also actually able to do digital modes. And I think the one that we normally choose for Earth Moon Earth is Q65. A lot of our contacts will probably be in the Q65 mode. You might have seen that from my first video when we had the loss of the 1296 and we had to go to 432. Not as efficient operating in the UHF frequency, and so we did only Q65 once we did that switch, because we had burned out the LNA by accidentally transmitting into it with more power. And so this time I think we're going to do probably a mixture. We do have a Morse key set up. We are set up for single sideband, but I believe we also will be running a Q65 software. And so we should see a number of these different things happen during this contest. The first weekend that we were doing this year was that October weekend, and they had a drivetrain chain brake that controlled the azimuth of the dish itself. They had to replace that. They went to Napa Auto Parts. They got the chain. There was a story about it on the ARRL newsletter. After they actually corrected those things, they had a feed line problem. The center pin had cold soldered on the feed line of the heliax, and so they resoldered that. They got the chain fixed, and then after all of that, they were still able to make 96 Earth Moon Earth contacts after all those problems. So they lost a whole day and were still able to get up in the 90s. So that's pretty impressive. All right, another part of the program I forgot to show you is this. This is kind of like a sky map, and so you can see several of the ones that they know the noise on. And so you see Taurus, the Moon, Cassiopeia, Cygnus, Virgo, the Sun, Sagittarius. And so again, what they try to do is they're going to point it to an area where there's a very low noise, so this dark sky kind of area. And so they'll get kind of like a baseline, and that's where you see, you know, let's say your lines start off here at your base, and then once they move, and they can point at anything like the sun, and so once they click on that and point at the sun, it'll say the sun is at this, there should be this much noise, and again, that's related to over here where it was telling there's 30.7, and so that's why there's that much noise, because it's right in this band. The more, you know, white, purple, red, orange is noisy compared to dark blue and darker blue. And so that's why we're able to know why the noise is so high for those certain things. Sagittarius should be like super high, because this is like right in the middle, and this is the Milky Way area here. So not only is it in the height of the noise, but it's in the height of the Milky Way given noise off. It doesn't show very big though, 1.82. I'm kind of surprised at that. I think it's going to be higher than that. But as soon as he gets those feed points changed out there in the dish, they're working on it now, and he should be up there on the scaffolding up at the top. I can't see it, but he's changing out those jumpers that are going between the Diane transverter and should be the preamp. And so once he gets those swapped out, and then we should be able to start moving the dish around and trying to find out if the noise is okay. All right, one thing I am going to talk about that I haven't really mentioned yet, it's kind of letting the cat out of the bag a little bit. We know that during the open house, we had talked about the Amateur Radio Digital Communications Foundation, who gave us the grant to make this building so that we could have a better place to operate from than that old trailer. Well, we just got a new grant from them within the last couple months, I'd say. And it is to do Eve, Earth, Venus, Earth. And no one has ever done it before. And we're going to be doing that in March of 2025. And so we will actually be trying to bounce signals off of Venus using this same dish and maybe a new type of transverter, or it might be the same Diane transverter, but we'll be making some modifications to it, and then bounce signals off of Venus back to the Earth. And so it's going to be something pretty phenomenal. It's never been attempted before, or let's say successfully attempted before. And so that is the intent of doing that project. And once it happens, I mean, this is going to be presented at all of the conferences for the space communications, like when they do the EME conference and so forth. And so that should be pretty exciting, and looking forward to that. So stay tuned for sure.
Whatsoever, I mean, it tells us. So you see, without the software and all these powerful calculations, you know, imagine that wouldn't be possible at all. So nowadays, so this is basically our Milky Way, right? And all this concentrated, this is center of our galaxy, so that's why it's a very concentrated, it's a very hot. But our concern, our point of interest now is Cygnus A, because we actually can move antennas. It's almost vertical, 81-degree elevation and 77-degree azimuth. So if we're going to set that.
So this part here is, and I know we're saying it's hot, you know, it's a heat boom map, right? Is that supposed to be the most noise?
That's the most, you know, when you have a lot of concentration of the sources, like every single star radiates, right?
Yeah.
And it all combined and comes from the same direction, so they create a lot of white noise, so that's why, yeah.
So how come the sun is 30 decibels and Cygnus A would be only 4?
Well, because compare the distance sun and the Cygnus.
Okay.
Sun is the first star we see,
Sure.
right? And Cygnus is billions of years away. So by the time the signal comes, you know, all the signals it treat as the RF, right? As further it goes, it's less signal is, right?
Sure.
So it's a closer object. So why we get 30 dB? Because it generates billions of kilowatts and of billions kilowatts of energy.
Right, and it's closer to us, so more of it is hitting us compared to farther away, where some of it's spreading out, and only a little bit's coming at us.
If you put the hand on the sun, you can feel the heat.
Sure.
That is the energy, right? But it's not electrical energy; it's infrared energy.
Right.
It's just a different spectrum, right? Different frequency on the big chart. So here we're looking in the radio spectrum, and they radiate on different frequencies. So as right now, we're only concerned on 1296. So it shows the map what we can capture using 1296, and that's why we use the calculations, and we'll get fresh data from, and that's what it is. So those are all objects. And then if we're going to move our antenna to all these objects, this is what expected levels would be recorded.
Sure. All right, it is after 1700 on Friday, first day of the contest. Just 5 minutes after the time. We just worked St. Bart's. Yep.
Right here.
Earth, Moon, Earth, St. Bart's. And so, off to the races and see what happens.
He probably only sees us. But you see, now we have a better chance because this is guy on. So if you place guy here, so all that has to be taken into account. So you can calculate the Doppler shift that we have to transmit. Oh, there we go. See? It's a kilo 0 delta Sierra Papa. You see a lot of tricks you gotta do? If you don't know that, you lose it all the time. So
That's this guy?
yes, this guy was able to decode K0.
Okay.
So
I'm not sure.
I'm just curious. Right here, right? Dog. What you're going to do to the grass sonic?
You used to have a
All right, this is the end of the first night. I know for us, the moon is up the whole time, and so we're going to have another person operating possibly overnight. We're looking at doing that. I am headed off to the hotel so I can stay in my room there, and then I'll go back out during the day. The actual moon is going to set for us at about 7:40 in the morning, and so we may be working on trying to correct some problems we were having maybe with grounding and things like that, because we kept getting a little bit of it seemed like RFI into the signal, which was cutting off the receive audio, and so we may be working on that. We did get around 36 to 38 contacts. I was one of the last operators for this section, and so I was picking up stuff in the Netherlands, in Poland, got a Germany contact, and so forth. All of this was on the Q65 digital mode, and so I started calling out on single sideband, and people were saying that they could hear me and it was real strong, but I guess they were not able to respond that way, and so switched back over to Q65, and then I started picking up more and more contacts, and so we'll see what happens tomorrow. This is the end of the first night. All right, this is the second day of the contest, and you can see the position of the antenna. They were working on some things, trying to refine some of the signal that was coming back from the antenna itself, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the elevation gain control mechanism that reads back the reading stopped working. And so the antenna software assumes that the dish must be in a down position, and so it stops it from moving. And so it's been frozen like this for the last couple of hours, and for some reason we're not able to get the readings from the elevation gain mechanism that's up in the top part of the dish, in the pedestal. And so we're kind of stuck a little bit because if we can't get that to start reading again, then we're not going to be able to move the dish, and we're not going to be able to do Earth, Moon, Earth. And so I believe what they've decided to do was try to switch back to the old system that used to be in the trailer, which is right there. So that trailer system, it's a 12-bit processing system, is still hooked up to other elevation gain controllers in there. We just didn't disconnect any of that. And so we think that is working. And so if we can get that rehooked back up, we should be able to move the dish again like we used to before we moved into the new building with the new controllers. And so we're going to give that a whirl. This is, I'm not really sure what time in the afternoon, but we're getting to the point where sun's going to be going down, moon will be rising, and we need to start with the contest. And so until we can get that dish to move, we're not going to be doing anything yet. All right, so here's the solution. Crawl up in the dish, get up in the top of the pedestal, unplug the encoder and plug it back in. Boom, it works. So we have both systems working, actually. The older system, the 12-bit system, and the newer system is now back online. And so we're getting the antenna, and we're going to start slewing it around so we can get ready for the moon. All right, it is 4:40 p.m. on the second day. We've got the sun starting to set over here off the horizon, right about there. And then we've got dusk happening over here in the east. And so the moon should be coming up, I believe, about 5:05 p.m., we should break the horizon. So you saw the elevation and azimuth right there. And so you see we now have the radio telescope pointed at about 69 degrees, I think it was, and about 9 degrees elevation up from zero. And so yesterday we picked the moon up at about maybe 2 degrees past the horizon. And so right now it's sitting at 9 degrees, so you can see it's tilted just a little bit up. But we are ready to go about another 25 minutes, and then we should be back on the air, Earth, Moon, Earth, at the Plishner radio telescope. All right, it is 5:30. We pretty much just went on, and we've already gotten Italy, 2 Russian stations, and Germany bouncing off the moon. And we're only at 4 degrees past horizon. So we're tracking the moon, just came up over the horizon, about 4 degrees. And we've already picked up 4 stations over there in Europe. So doing real good.
Well, our call sign here is da 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 da. But the hard part is not transmitting. Huh? Yes. Hey, I understand that one. I think here. Somebody in Germany.
Go quiet.
Huh? Where it is in the sky, so you can point it at the right place, right? And you're going to key up on your transmit radio and say, you know, your call sign, W0XLT, and your grid spread, DM88, Delta Mike 88, right? And then you're going to listen for something.
All right, this is the end of the second night of the Earth, Moon, Earth contest. And we have a total so far of 154 contacts. And a lot of those being European stations. We're, kind of in the middle of the night. This is about almost 2 in the morning. And we've got a couple guys who are in there monitoring it now. We're going to have somebody take over maybe in about an hour. And then it ends tomorrow morning at about 9 a.m. We're going to get moon set here at 9 a.m. in the morning. And so headed to the hotel just to sleep a little bit, get a shower, get some breakfast in the morning. I'm going to head back out, maybe get here by, let's say, 7:30. So I'll be here for the last hour and a half of when we're doing the contest. And we'll count up our total QSOs and see how we do, Last year, we weren't even on the board for this contest last year. And I don't remember if we were having issues or anything like that, but we weren't on the top 5 or 6 stations. So we must have been having an issue because I don't remember what it was at this point. But we're doing pretty good this year, and so we'll see how that goes. Most of the contacts today were all Q65, but we did have W0XLD come in, and he does CW, and he actually got his very first CW on the air contacts doing Earth, Moon, Earth. And that's pretty amazing. One of them was Germany, and I'm trying to remember what the other one was. I logged it, and I don't remember where he was. But that was his very first CW contacts on air, and it ended up being Earth, Moon, Earth to Germany. And the other guy's call sign was like SM2, and I don't remember where SM2 is off the top of my head. And so that's pretty awesome. One of the other guys was doing CW as well. So we got some CW contacts, and we got the Q65. It doesn't seem like anybody's doing sideband, and I don't know if it's more of a pain, and maybe their station's not strong enough or whatever. But this contest, since it allows that digital mode, that's what it seems like everybody wants to do. And so I know the European one that we do during the spring is mostly just CW or sideband, and there's no digital modes allowed. And so maybe people are more willing to do it at that time, but whatever. So let's see what happens in the morning, and that'll be the end of the contest. All right, as you can see, the sun rising over here, and then we go down and look at the position of the dish, and there is the last bit of the moon. So we're looking at about the last hour and 15 minutes or so of this 48-hour contest. So this is the end of the 48 hours. And I'm going to go inside. Just got here to the site after I recorded that that leaving about 5 or 6 hours ago to go to the hotel. And so see if any of our operators last night did anything in the last 5 hours. And then we'll kind of wrap up this International EME contest. All right, so we reached the end of the contest, and we started to do our calculations on the logging software. We ended up with 163 QSOs, and after reviewing all of the duplicates, we actually ended up with a total of 136 QSOs. Of those, 127 were Q65 or the digital mode, and 9 were CW or Morse code. And so a total of 136 QSOs. Of those, we hit 5 continents, 31 different countries, and a number of grids. I forgot the total number of grids off the top of my head. But I'll try to put that data as pictures here in the, maybe in the video. I'll just put each one there. And so total, like I said, 136 QSOs. Of those, 31 different countries. I'm going to also try to plot those on a map and see if I can get it on a map software so you can see all the different areas that we contacted. But pretty good. We're estimating a total of 850,000-ish points for the contest, which should put us about 3rd in the world. And so that's pretty impressive. Biggest dish that is owned by amateur radio people. And so this is not a commercial dish. It's owned by Amateur Radio Deep Space Exploration Society. And so it is probably the biggest one in North America. And so that's why we end up doing pretty good in the contest. So that's kind of the end of the International EME for 2024. And this is Ham Solo K0FYR 73.